The views and opinions expressed by the following program are those of the host, guests, and callers and are not necessarily those of this station or Webster Rock Hill Ministries, its management, or other hosts or underwriting sponsors. Programs presented by KWRH-LP are for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Welcome back to In Tune. This is Arnold Stricker with Mark Langston. Our guest on the phone is the founder and artistic director of St. Louis Actors Studio. He's also owner of the Gaslight Theatre and West End Grill and Pub, founder and president of the 11 Inc. He began his acting career in 1972 at the Theater Guild of Webster Groves. I love this, where his dad had acted in the mid-'60s in a performance of South Pacific, but had a horrible case of stage fright, refused to sing, and chose instead to dance behind the curtain. But he became so good, he ended up at the Fox Theater and has had multiple Critics Circle Awards and nominations, Theater Circle Awards and nominations. And we want to welcome William Roth to In Tune today. William, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Welcome, William. I love that story. That was a great story. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'm not a lover of musicals anyway, and the idea of standing there and singing was not something that appealed to me, so I hid behind the curtain.
But your favorite role, I think I was reading, is where was it here? Your favorite production is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a few of them, but certainly there's no characters better than playing George in Virginia Woolf. That's for sure.
Now, the Gaslight, tell us a little bit about what's going on there. You know, I remember way back in the day when I was a child, Gaslight Square, it's kind of near there, but the Gaslight Theater is a little different. Explain a little bit about what you do there, and then you've got a jazz series that's live streaming. Matter of fact, one's tonight at 7:30, and I want to talk about that.
Yeah. We are just about a half a block away from where it all took place on Gaslight Square. It's all residential now, but we're on Boyle, just a little south of the corner of Olive and Boyle, which is where Gaslight Square started, and then continued east for about a block and a half, just past Whittier, on both sides of the street. Unfortunately, none of those buildings are left, but it's a beautiful residential neighborhood. I own and operate out of two commercial buildings right around the corner that we certainly pay homage to that. That's why we're called the Gaslight Theater. There was one back in the Gaslight days, a little closer to Boyle, on Boyle, but we are not it. We've been around about 15 years, there's two buildings right next to each other. The Gaslight houses my St. Louis Actors Studio, which is a performing arts not-for-profit that I started. We just announced our 14th season. That performs in there. And then in addition to that, and it's attached to the West End Grill and Pub, so we've got this kind of culture, cuisine, cocktail idea that gives an environment of culinary arts and performing arts and the graphic arts at the 11, my graphic design firm, which is the kind of commercial entity that helps keep things profitable. But we also do live music because it's such a great listening. The room, by default, it's not really that I had a bunch of sound technicians in there. As we built it out of a storefront and finished up, it became a really tight room acoustically, so we knew live music, and it's so intimate that would be great there. So anyway, for a while before the stay-at-home orders, we had a jazz series on Tuesdays and a blues series on Mondays, and we were trying to get singer-songwriters on Wednesdays, and it was really kind of taking off for us, and I loved being a part of it, and there's so many talented musicians and artists in town, so it was really great. And so when this all happened, these artists have a hard enough time making a living when they can play gigs every night, let alone being confined to their homes. So we knew that we could provide a safe environment for those that wanted to do some live streaming. It's a big enough stage, and we're not doing full orchestras, so they keep their distance, and there's nobody in the house, the place is empty, so we kind of try to keep it going as long as we can to engage whoever's out there who pays attention to what the Gaslight does or what St. Louis Actors Studios does.
So this is going to be a Facebook live stream, is that correct?
It is. It's at the St. Louis Actors Studio and the Gaslight Theater both share It's the same Facebook page. So if you go to Facebook and look up St. Louis Actors Studio, you'll find it. And 7:30, you'll see it. It'll start live streaming, and you'll be able to listen to Chris Swan and Jim Manley, keyboards and trumpet. These guys are as talented as they come, and they'll be doing some great tunes. So I'm looking forward to it.
And obviously, I'm reading right now on the screen that tips are appreciated. You know, you have musicians who are playing. They always do play for tips, and
right.
it's important to support the arts like that. And you can also grab some carryout at the grill, correct?
Yeah. So the restaurant is closed for normal business, but we do curb service carryout. From 4 o'clock until 8 o'clock every night except for Sundays, although we are considering doing some family meals on Sundays. And westendgrillandpub.com, just click at the top. You'll see online orders, and it's easy to do. Just click it in and pay for it, and within a half hour, we'll meet you at the curb.
So that live stream starts at 7:30 p.m. tonight. Now, William, are you going to have you lined up like weekly things now for this, or is this something that how have you kind of scheduled these?
They're kind of scheduled. Most of the folks that we know, Jim Owens is a buddy of mine, and he's kind of helped me. He knows he's a trombone keyboard player out in the community. He knows as many people as I do, so he helps me figure out who's out there, and those that have performed live in the past, we've reached out to them to see if they want to do it. So it's kind of not on a regular schedule, but when some groups go, hey, we want to do something, we put it together. So more kind of a pop-up situation than something that's more scheduled every Tuesday or once a week.
Gotcha. Now, and how does somebody with a bachelor's in aeronautics, aviation, aerospace science, and technology get into the business that you're doing right now?
Oh, it's obvious. I don't really need to explain that, do I? I got out of the... None of it makes sense, really. I got out of the Marines and moved back to St. Louis, and at the time, aerospace, although it's still pretty big here, was even bigger. And St. Louis University, Parks College of St. Louis University, I was getting a business degree, just a general business degree, and Parks College has a business degree with an aviation focus. So it seemed to me that I might have a better chance at McDonnell Douglas and those places if I had a degree that was geared towards aerospace. And so I did that, and Bachelor of Science and an Associate of Science in Aviation Management. You can be an airport manager. There's a lot to it. So anyway, I was in a government job. The first I was offered a job while I was still in school, so I was like, well, I should take this. How do you say no before you're even graduated?
Yeah.
And it was a quasi-governmental job that I didn't love, and I had to sit at a desk and write reports, and I didn't love it. So I was in a play with a guy that owned a graphic design firm, and I was said, get me out of here, man, hire me. He said, you don't know anything about graphic arts or advertising. I'm like, well, just give me, put me on full commission. So that's kind of how it started, and I was successful in that, and then opened my own firm about 20 years ago.
You have some excellent clients. Your clientele that you work for. It's a very, very impressive list, I should say.
Yeah, we've had a lot of our clients are our friends, and we've had long-term relationships with them, and we're lucky. Yeah, we have a nation full of them. They're not all just local, but we have a good host of local folks, and some spread out around the country. It's certainly helpful in times like these when companies find it hard to make ends meet, and the first thing they generally cut is their marketing expense. So having a wide and varied number of clients certainly is helpful.
You're listening to In Tune with Arnold Stricker and Mark Langston. We're talking to William Roth, the founder and artistic director of St. Louis Actors Studio, owner of the Gaslight Theatre and West End Grill and Pub. And William, the St. Louis Actors Studio, you had announced your 14th season, which starts in September. And can you talk a little bit about some of those things that we can expect out of that? I'm anticipating that the current situation that we're going through will subside a little bit, although people are saying about a second wave, but we still need to get life back to some normalcy, and the arts are a good way to do that and keep perspective. Talk a little bit about your 14th season that's coming up.
Well, we can't just sit down or sit on our hands and not do anything, so we certainly have to plan. We had to cancel our last show of the season, Comfort, which was a world premiere play that Neil Labute wrote for us. But we can't just sit around and go, we're not going to do anything until we know that the coast is clear. So we're business as usual for now. We've announced our 14th season. We usually do a theme, at least something loosely based that our subscribers, that each play has something to do with. So there is, some string that it doesn't alienate those that just come to single plays. And it makes it maybe a little more meaningful from our subscribers that come to all of them. But we have a wide variety of plays. The first play opens in September on the 18th, and it's called it's a Paula Vogel play, And Baby Makes Seven. Anne and Ruth and Peter await the arrival of their newborn child, but first they must, in a crowded apartment, but they have some imaginary children that they got to work through first. So it's a funny, really interesting, timely play, and our associate artistic director, Anna Maria Pileggi, is going to direct that. We then are going to address the plight of straight white men. This is a great play that young Gene Lee wrote, and it premiered at the Public and then went to Broadway. It is pretty much exactly what you think it is. You may not think that they've got their troubles, but straight white men do have some dwindling identity problems, and this play.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and so
an
Asian American woman has looked into that and given us her perspective on what she thinks that's all about. That is in December. The 4th,
is that a comedy?
The 20th.
Is that a comedy?
It is a comedy. They all are mostly, we call it dramedy is kind of our theme this year. There is some drama in it, but most of the stuff is pretty darn funny, especially our play in February, which is a play by Robert Askin called Hand to God. And my other associate artistic director, John Pearson's directing that. And this one, the synopsis is as follows. After the death of his father, meek Jason finds an outlet for his anxiety at the Christian Puppet Ministry, in a devoutly religious, relatively quiet small town of Cypress, Texas. Jason's complicated relationship with the town pastor, the school bully, and the girl next door, and most especially his mother, are thrown into upheaval when Jason's puppet, Tyrone, takes on a shockingly and dangerously irreverent personality of its own. Hand to God explores the startling, fragile nature of faith, morality, and the ties that bind us. So it's outrageously, almost offensively funny. It is one of the plays that many people have seen. You just laugh. It is so amazingly funny. It's a great play. And then we finish the season. Well, we don't finish the season, but our last full play are two one-acts, one by Edward Albee and one by Harold Pinner, both very well-known classic one-act plays, The Zoozatory and The Dumbwaiter. And then Neil Labute, who works with us every year, we have a one-act festival that runs the month of July. We're hoping that it'll still run this July 4th through the end of the month. And those are one-act plays that people write and send in scripts to us. We read them, we cull them down, we get about 300 or 400 of 10-page samples. We then ask for the full scripts, we read those, and then we produce 4 to 7 of them over the summer, and Neil Labute writes a world premiere one-act that leads the way. And we have a high school component, too, where high school students write one-acts and send them in.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, we're busy here.
I've got to tell you that the theater it's a great venue. It is very intimate, and you really it's like being almost on stage with everyone, and the acoustics are wonderful.
Yeah, it's a 97-seat storefront, and there, even if you're in the back row of the balcony, or maybe the second to back row of the balcony isn't the greatest seats, but all the seats are right next to the action on stage. It really is.
How many seats are there again in the theater?
97.
Okay. Wow, that is very intimate. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it serves the purpose, because I don't really know of a venue like that other than that has that kind of tight seating. And
the Westport Playhouse would be the only place that really comes to my mind, Arnold, that would be intimate like that. But they have more than 97 seats there. But
right, there are a couple hundred seats for sure.
Yeah, they're in the round. But boy, that intimacy is that's just great.
Yeah, and every theater has a black box, which is a smaller space,
Right.
but it is a little, it's square and it's black and it's tall. I mean, it doesn't have we certainly are have the most intimacy, maybe.
Now, when can we see you in the next performance? Are you going to be acting or are you going to be directing?
I don't have the patience to direct. I really am fairly, as you can tell by all the things that I'm working on, my attention span is fairly short, and I need a lot of things to keep me active. But I do love to act, and try not to get on stage so much that this all becomes about me. But next season, I'm in the Zoo Story and the Dumbwaiter. Maybe it depends on what goes on in the summer. If there's a part for me, I will jump in to the One Act Festival. But usually one thing a year. So as far as the main stage is concerned, it's not until a year from now, next April, May, that I'll be on a play on our stage.
Now, did you ever think also that you would be getting into the restaurant business and the renovation of building business along the way?
No. It was none of these things where I worked at Duff's Restaurant for many years, so I know the restaurant business. But I certainly was not wanting to own my own place, but it just I needed a place. It all started, I was sharing space on the Hill for my graphic design firm. There was a couple of photographers and another design firm. It was a big club hall, a great building at the on the corner there, Sean Marconi. Anyway, I was the last guy in, and everybody was growing exponentially. So when my lease was up, I had to go because I needed my space. So I was really looking at space and looking at a bunch of places in the West End where I live, and 1,200 square feet seemed really, really expensive. And I was just taking a walk one day, and these two buildings were just sitting there with no roof and just completely falling down with amazingly beautiful architecture right in the middle of things. I knew where Grand Center was. I knew where the West End was. It's right in the middle of the action. I was just like, you know what, I might be able to figure out how to buy these and then maybe some tax credits.
Yeah.
So that all fell into place, and then I had the one building, and then the next building still had pigeons and homeless people in it. I'm like, well, I got to protect the investment of the first, and so I bought the second. And as people came and said, hey, I want to put this in there, I was like, well, I don't want to be next to that. So being kind of a control freak, I was like, well, what if it were a theater? And I've been in enough plays where people are like, hey, we're coming to your play, but we're going to get dinner first, and they go across town, and on Martini number 3, and it's 10 to 8, they go, we'll see Williams play next weekend, not knowing that it closed this weekend. So having a restaurant attached made it all. Then we developed this culture cuisine cocktail idea, and it all kind of just fell into place.
Oh, and it's great because after the show, you can go over to the restaurant and
right, and all the actors are there. And during the One Act Festival, all the playwrights from various parts around the country are all in town, and you never know who you're going to run into.
Wow. Well, I honestly, I really appreciate your vision on this and continuing with the jazz series and not succumbing to cancellations, but getting creative, using the live stream. Many artists are doing that, but I've really not seen venues do that as much. And so tonight, folks, April 3rd at 7:30 tonight, you can go to Facebook Gaslight Theatre, their site, and get a live stream of Chris Swan and the Jim Manley duo, Jim's trumpet player, Chris's keyboards. And even if
that link that's on there, all the money goes directly to the performers, so we're not taking any money. Just so you click on the PayPal, it goes right to the two of them.
And especially in this time, and grab some carryout. Do they call in, or is there a website that they can order?
Yeah, if you go to the West End Grill and Pub at the top, it's got online. You click on that, and the full menu's right there to pick and choose and order, and it comes to us. Or you can call it in anytime after 4 o'clock, 314-531-4607 is their number.
Super. William, I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to talk to us today, and best of luck tonight and in the future. And folks, if you get a chance, watch that tonight, and also check out the St. Louis Actors Studio. William, we look forward to meeting you at one of those performances in the fall.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you,
William. Take care.